Okay, knee on belly prevention drill number 1. This is a simple idea. You don't want to push with your outside hand. You'll give them all sorts of opportunities if you do that, right? So like we used to always teach doing this. Not a terrible idea, but it's still not perfect either. What we want to do is before you even get a knee on belly, we're trying to put our elbow on the outside of their knee, right? So this is our inside elbow is what I call this, right? So if I'm in knee on belly, outside elbow, inside elbow, okay? So he's using his inside elbow to prevent. He just moves back from this. It's like a frame, hip escape. Boom. Okay, so if I just threw Michael and I'm dropping in, he's doing that motion as I'm dropping in, right there, boom. Right, if I'm popping up from side mount, he's doing that as I'm dropping in. And you'll notice when you start really working this into your game, they will drop a knee on the floor, stand up, or sit down when they do it. And it's like standing guard pass, throw, coming up from side control. It's applicable to all that. All you have to do is pummel that inside elbow to the outside of their knee and hip escape. It's that simple. It's all you have to do. So that's a prevention drill. Okay, knee on belly prevention. You don't want to get put there, especially the way we've been kind of doing it. Like I've been really teaching this stuff. I've got to work on these details and these lessons and these submissions and transitions from the top with some of the best black belts in the world, right? And you don't want to get put there. If the person knows what they're doing, they're not putting their knees right here in the center. You don't want to get put there, okay? One thing they'll tell you that the person doesn't know what they're doing though is if they try and do this from a head arm side mount. If anybody tries to pop up from head arm side, and you'll see it a lot because they have that lapel, and oh, it's a good idea. But if you will chart that and you feel their chest disconnect, you've got them, okay? So what we're gonna do here is like Michael's got this head arm, and you know, I'm trying to, you know, monitor what he's doing. I want him to go to north-south. That's kind of the purpose of this hand. But if I feel him go to disconnect and pop up to a knee on belly, I'm doing this, right? And then from there, I'm rolling him over. Boom. And we're loaded for north-south Kimura, far side spin armbar. Maybe if you wanted to grab his lapel, you could do a step over choke, right? You can, you know, lots of great opportunities. All because he did one thing. That I would now that I work this into my game, I think this is a mistake. I used to put people in knee on belly from here, okay? So, but from this is normal position starting point. When he pops up, I crank that arm and he has to roll. Here, boom. There it is. So maybe popping up from head arm side mount is not the best idea on getting knee on belly. Yeah, I'll be like editing it on my AirPods and I'm like, okay. Let's do the in escape. Okay, good. See, this is far enough out. Look what I'm gonna do here. I grab. Then I step out here and I turn my hips. And that makes him sit down. Come back. So here I can't reach this leg. I need to walk out a little bit. And when I walked out, that allows me the ability to switch. Come up into cross body control here. And look where we're at. Right? I've got this same arm sort of attack. So as I'm coming up, I'm rotating over to north-south. Get out of my gi. And I'm here. Got the wrist lock, the Kimura, or the far side spin arm. Okay? So, here. And you just come up into this cross body position. Okay? So look, another thing. I want to have this control, like I'm up with this sort of cobra posture to talk to you guys, but if I want to control the position, I want my head on his hip, which kind of rounds my spine, okay? And that gives me not just pressure on his upper body where he can move his legs, but now I'm controlling his hips as well, right? And then I've got arms isolated, can start, you know, pulling up here for different things. Okay. So you ready to see that again? Okay, let's get our partner. 1, 2. 1, 2. Cool. Over this shit ever since he got back. He's like, hey, you should sit like the guys that like learned it from Hickson, because I learned it from them, right? But they were all like, I remember I was in Philly and I called Jack and he was like, hey, what's up, bro? I might get a family thing, but what's up? And I was just like, just driving around in an Uber in Philly, man. What are you doing? You know? And he's like, God, I can't really talk right now, but Hickson told me to sit in the belly escape, man. I've never seen anything like it before, and I gotta show it to you. And like, I was just like, no. But that wasn't even this one. I learned this one from Jack 2 years ago, and when he first showed it to me, I was, you know, full retard, full on. I was just like, what do you mean? Because, you know, you can feel the weight to it as well, like, and that's another kind of cool component to it. Anyway, there's a couple more that I think are equally as mind-blowing. Let's do those.
Yeah, all 3 of them.
And you know, kind of some of them are variations and some of them are transitional, but these 3 that he's talking about go together. You know, you don't always have the ability to hear. Like, that's a big maneuver, so it might be more opportunistic to like, look what I'm doing with my foot here. I got this under his hip. I'm just kind of bracing against my own leg here. So it's literally a reverse scissors sweep, right? We worked this from butterfly, I think, the other day. Get down on my butterfly bar. Right? So it's kind of that sort of idea, right? Reverse scissor, reverse butterfly. I'm putting a leg under his base and switching sides. So it's got that kind of hip escape shrimping component to it as well. Okay, so here, I'm not gonna be able to get to that leg that we saw in the last technique, so I'm gonna put it here. Pull myself through. Turn, yes. Breathe, stand here, right? Like, see, almost that brace with your own leg, right? And yeah, brain there. Okay, now shove. Yes, boom. Nice, right? It's a hip shovel, is what I call it, right? So it's just a whoop. You switch your hips and tip them right over. All right, you want to see it again?
One more time.
Okay, you want to see it?
Yes, please.
Okay, so here.
Where you put your hand?
That would still be a good option for me. But here, all right? I'm not grabbing my leg, I'm putting my elbow against my leg and into his leg. And then watch, there's the hips. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Let's do it, 1, 2. Okay, so put me in a good knee on belly.
Focus all your energy on your knee now.
Okay.
All your energy on that knee.
So remember, if he were to slide his knee to my center, look what that gives me. His heel. It's explosive. Like, if I want a free leg lock, I'll hold him now. Right? So here, this is good. Okay. Now, I don't want to do this. I want to give him this arm. Remember talking all this time we've been working on this. This is such a good idea, right? But if he does get me here, also, I know you're just being nice to me, but don't sit on my leg like that. It won't, and then bend your knee a little bit more. Yes, good. That's better, okay? And then think, like, you need to be able to go here, up and down, and you need to be able to move here, right? And that too, you need little steps there. It's all small, so it's never like, oh, I'm just holding you. You gotta be able to move, right? Because if I move, he has to follow. That's a core tenet. You gotta be able to hold him, you gotta be able to follow, okay? So, here, I wanna be inside, and this elbow is against his knee that's on my belly. And this is belt knock, okay? Here is what I'm doing that same idea we're talking about, the warm up, where I base, I turn that heel out, I invert that knee, I connect, and you go right into that low single if you want. Again, it just kind of forces him, like the response is like, oh, hey, I don't want to sit down. So you stand up or you drop a knee on the mat. Like people that have been doing this, like that's when they're rolling, those are the two main responses. If you don't get such a clean escape, they sit down, that's what happens, okay? So, you try this now. Okay, so this one we want to protect. I really want that near side arm lock. That's like move number one, right? So here, feel your elbows against my knee. Now connect. Drive with your foot into your hand. Yes. Oh, yes. See, I had to stand up, or that was gonna happen. If that happens, go down, and then pull my leg that way, like that. Yes. Okay, and you set them down. Okay, so just think like they stood up or dropped a knee to avoid getting set down, and the single leg makes you sit down. Makes you sit down anyway, right? So it's just like what we were doing at the beginning of class here. Hip escape, shrimping, snaky moves, whatever you want to call it. Hip escape, 1, 2. So there's a technique we teach from head arm side mount, okay, where I connect to his arm that's underhooking me. And it's not like an overhook, like there I can't really be strong. It's more connecting with my arm by turning my body and driving on my side, like you felt that, right? Right here, you might not feel like you feel maybe some instability, like I feel like my arm's trembling when I do that. But when I drive with this foot, that's different, right? It's not wrapping around your arm, it's connecting to your arm and hanging weight, so it's adding weight, right? So now put me in the belly. Okay, so earlier we were talking about sometimes you have to put your foot down. You have to block the hip. This foot's got to do things. And that's the timing of some of your techniques for stability. Okay? But it's also something that on my timing for my techniques, if I make you put your foot down, right, then it's not your idea, it's working for me. Okay? So look what I'm going to do here. Same thing. That kind of drives your foot towards the mat. Displaces weight off the top of me, okay? At this point, when I start turning on my side, one of two things will happen. If he drops knee on the mat, I do what we just did, the technique we just did, where we shoot him up. You just wrestle up on his leg, same way, single leg, all right? Additionally, when I turn here, if he stands up, right, I'm gonna turn down, low single, stand up here and pass. Okay, connect, drive with your foot, connect. Yes, so I start standing up on that, go down the leg, pull my toes that way. Yeah, stand up, here, right? I'm pushing that knee off, so when he has no more knee on me, he stands up, here. Boom. Pull those toes out, stand when you get that, and knee on belly. Does that make sense? Go flow drill with that. We'll finish it. 1, 2. So with this will work just based off what he just gave me, right? I don't have to really reposition, okay? So what I want to do is bump here, okay? So I bump, that makes him put weight up over my head. Maybe even hands on the mat, okay? Now, I can add in conjunction with this when I bump, my hand pushing him up, and then I can roll up on this single leg, okay? Now from here, look at all this space between his leg and his elbow and his arm. All this space is where I can take the back. So I'm gonna pull and look to step over that leg. If he retains base, I set hooks. If he collapses base, which is what we just saw, I set mount. Okay? So that's an option. Now, here's the thing. You don't want to just extend this arm out from the get. He'll control it. So I bump, and then I'm pushing here. I wrestle up, I pull, there's my seat belt, and back, okay? If he's tight here, watch this. Cross your feet, open them up, here. Bump, extend, come up, pull. Okay, look, if he's tight here, we've been talking about this. There's no space between his hip and his elbow. So take and put your wedge next to his head and misalign his spine. It's like the 10th plate calls it the dope mount, right? So it's just a transition amount. I was saying on the knee switch earlier, if he moves his hips, right here, move your hips to try and hip escape, boom. I just go up to mount off of that motion. Does that make sense? Okay. Everybody need to see it again?
One more time.
Okay. Here. Make sense?
Yep.
2.
Did you consider this?